They were known in history as brutal savages, fearless slave raiders, and above all, pirates. However, should they really be called as pirates when they are just fighting against the oppressors? Good day, everyone. I am Trisha May Judith A. De Vera, a BSED Science student at Pangasinan State University, Ordineta campus. Today, I will be discussing about the film Raiders of the Sulu Sea. But before that, let's first find out what are the learning outcomes of this topic. At the end of the lesson, the student will be able to analyze the context and content of the documentary film, identify the contributors, Muslim tribes, and purpose of the documentary film. Lastly, explain the importance and contributions of Raiders of the Sulu Sea in the context of Philippine history. Now, let's do a quick pre-test to test your knowledge regarding the said primary source. Read each item carefully and write your answers in your notebook. I'll just give you 15 seconds to answer each number. Number 1. What kind of film is Raiders of the Sulu Sea? A. Adventure. B. Documentary. C. Crime. D. Historical drama. Number 2. Where does the Raiders of the Sulu Sea focuses on? A. Zamboanga City. B. Davao City. C. General Santos. Or D. Cagayan de Oro. Number 3. All of the following are contributors of the film except A. Acel Gloria Estrada. B. Dr. Samuel Tan. C. Juan Antonio Luna. D. Margarita Coanco. Number 4. When was the documentary film made? A. 2005. B. 2006. C. 2007. Or D. 2008. Last, what is the documentary film all about? A. It showed how selfish motives of the tribes did not affect the infiltration of the Spanish fortress. B. It depicts how Spaniards defended the city of the Zamboangas Fort Pilar. C. It showed the conflicts between Muslim and Chinese. D. It focuses on the slave raiding as retaliation of Spain. Now that you have familiarized some of the keywords regarding our topic, let's now move on to the discussion. For this lesson, we are going to examine a historiography documentary film that exhibits how the tribes of men on certain parts of Mindanao fiercely fought against these Spaniards, whom at the time colonized the Philippines. This documentary film was narrated by several key informants or contributors that made the film more understandable. These people studied and analyzed the whole history of the conflict and identified causes of it. First on the list is Isel Gloria Estrada. She is an art historian at Zamboanga City. She is also a collector of art and a member of National Commission on Museums. Next, Dr. Samuel Tan. He is a historian and well known for his famous book A History of the Philippines. Next is Professor Barbara Watson Andaya. She is an Australian historian and author who studies Indonesia and maritime Southeast Asian history. Next is Dr. Julius Bautista. He is currently appointed as a senior lecturer at the Department of Southeast Asian Studies at the National University of Singapore. Next is Doctor Margarita Cojuangco. She is a Filipino politician, philanthropist, and an author. She is known for her humanitarian projects and works among Muslim communities. Lastly, Halman Abubakar. He is a Tausog and the town councilor of the Sulu Sea. So, sila yung mga historians or mga taong nag-contribute sa paggawa ng film. Let's now proceed to the producers and directors of the film. Raiders of the Sulu Sea is a documentary film produced by Oak Tree Films and directed by Idzwan Othman. Additionally, it was published by Looking Glass International at Victoria, Australia, and the duration of the film is approximately 49 minutes, and its original date is 2008. So take note of that. Next is historical background. Raiders of the Sulu Sea focuses on Zamboanga City. It depicts how the Spaniards defended the Fort Pilar as Spain's last base of defense, which was used to control our economy in the past. It is also focuses on the slave raiding as a retaliation on colonizer. So, dinefend ng mga Espanyol yung base nila which is yung Fort Pilar laban sa mga invaders, most especially sa mga raiders. These raiders were fearless and fiercer sa battle. Para sa mga Espanyol, they are nothing but barbaric pirates. So, the Fort Pilar is a 10-meter high wall that acted as a defense fortress. The fort served as the base of operations to check on slave raiding going on the north and back. So, ito yung base nila to facilitate their trade. Also, the Spanish wanted to control the economy and propagate Christianity as well as the colonized. As a result, this presented a conflict between the Muslim tribes and the Spanish, and because of that conflict, of course, they attacked the Fort Pilar on December 8, 1720 in Zamboanga City. Raja Dalasi led the bloody attack on Fort Pilar together with the joint forces of Sulu Sultanate. There were three tribes who united to combat with the Spaniards to fight for their freedom. However, the bloody war did not end well and the tribes didn't won the fight. These raiders are consist of three tribes which are the Samal Balangini, Ilanons, and Tausug. These tribes were known as skilled warriors, deadly swordsmen, expert sailors, and builders of formidable vessels of war, which has a great advantage against colonizers. However, the tribes mentioned are not really pirates during the times. They were plying their trade of capturing people and selling them as slaves, which we call slave raiding. So, raiders pretend as fishermen and harmless people. Once they're ready to raid, they captivate innocent people and bear a hole in their palm where they can insert a string to tie them in order for them not to escape. So, imagine, bubutasan yung palm and itatali. That's so brutal. That's why binansagan silang brutal savages. Let's now proceed to the ancient maritime vessels that were used by the raiders. First is Lanong. It is a large outrigger warship used by the Ilanon and Balingi people for raiding and fighting. Next is Garay. It is a traditional native warship of the Balingi people. Next is Salisipan, or also known as Kakap. It is a canoe-shaped boat used by Ilanons and Bangingi people. They used all these boats for fighting and raiding activities. Next are the weapons of the tribes. First, kalis or kris. It is a type of double-edged sword, often with a wavy section. Next, barong. It is a deadly weapon and a sword with single-edged, leaf-shaped blade made of thick type of steel. Next, kampilan. It is the longest sword that was used by the Ilanons. Next, armor. It was from carabao horn. Its steel plate was molded to fit the body and held together by chainmail. On the other hand, these are the weapons that were used by Spaniards. We have musket. It could fire 90 meters and took several stages steps to reload, and cannon. It is a type of gun classified as artillery that launches a projectile using propellant. So, knowing na mas advanced yung weapons ng Spaniards, it doesn't stop the raiders, the tribes, to fight for their freedom against the colonizers. They really are fearless. Let's now move on to the importance and contribution of the film. It depicted the Filipinos' pursuit of independence and it detailed people's commitment to defend their homeland from colonizers. And it inspired many Filipino revolutionaries who arrived after the event. Moreover, the raiders of the Sulu Sea plays an important role as they contributed to the anti-colonial movement. To conclude, there are some historians who have argued that they were not merely the savages they were made out to be. Instead, they were merely indigenous people defending their way of life from conquering colonial forces. It is also a story of how these men who lived by the sword eventually died by it. So, were they pirates and barbarians or warriors and freedom fighters? Well, it depends on how we look at it in different perspectives. Now that you've gained knowledge regarding the said primary source, I believe you are now ready to take the final test. Part 1. Write agree if the statement is correct and write disagree if the statement is wrong. I'll give you 1 minute to answer. Number 1. It's one Othman as the producer of the Raiders of the Sulu Sea. Number 2. The duration of the film is approximately 30 minutes. Number 3. Ilanon is one of the Muslim tribes. Number 4. Raha Dalasi led the bloody war in Fort Pilar. And number 5. Kakap is the other name for Garay ship. Part 2. Read each statement carefully and choose the correct answer. For this part, I'll give you 15 seconds to answer each number. Number 6. All of the following are Muslim tribes except A. Ilanon, B. Tausug, C. Mandaya, D. Balangini. Number 7. What are the maritime vessels used by the raiders? A. Garay, B. Lanong, C. Salisipan, or D. All of the above. Number 8. What kind of sword is double-edged and has a wavy distinction? A. Kampilan, B. Barong, C. Kalis, or D. Musket. Number 9. When does the three tribes attack the fourth pillar? A. December 8, 1723, B. December 8, 1722, C. December 8, 1720, or D. December 8, 1721. Last number. What is the importance of the documentary film? A. It shows the hardships of the Filipino people. B. It depicted the Filipinos' pursuit of independence. C. Both A and B. Or D. None of the above. So that is all for today. Thank you, and I hope you learned something.